Founded in 2016 by husband-wife duo Varun and Ghazal Alagh, Mamaearth has emerged as one of the hottest new age consumer brands in India. Riding the direct-to-consumer wave, where brands sell to consumers directly from their website or e-commerce platforms like Flipkart or Amazon. It offers toxin-free natural products including bamboo-based wipes, face masks, lotions and hair care products. While it started out as a skincare startup focused on baby care, it has expanded to adult categories in recent years, also stepping up its offline presence via distribution and dedicated stores. Mamaearth's parent company, Honasa Consumer, became the first unicorn of 2022 in January this year when it raised $52 million at a valuation of $1.2 billion. It's also planning an IPO next year with ambitions of becoming a house of brands and expanding overseas. Hello and welcome to Bits to Billions. We're in conversation with the founders of Mamaearth, Varun and Ghazal Alagh. You would have seen their products stocked in various stores or even at Mamaearth stores themselves. But how it started is where we are going to begin this interview. Varun and Ghazal, welcome to the show.
Thank
you know, most entrepreneurs start up when they are looking to solve a problem they face in their professional or personal life. And something similar triggered your Mamaearth journey. So tell us about that.
So I think Mamaearth started with a very personal problem that we were going through. We had our son, Agastya, our first son, and he was born with a certain skin condition where a lot of Indian products that we were using on him did not suit him. And it was during my stint in New York when I was there for art education that I got some understanding around a few ingredients that were considered toxic. And a few products were actually being lifted off the shelves because they contain cancer-causing ingredients. So I think, when we became parents, we were paranoid around everything and anything that was getting even closer to our son. And, that paranoia around and that helplessness around not being able to do something for our child is what triggered us to figure a solution out and try something out. Our doctor used to call us Google parents because even the medicines that he was prescribing,
Google actually makes you feel even more terrified because whatever question you're typing and someone has already typed out the exact same question.
And imagine when the word cancer comes around anything that you're using on your baby, it frightens you. So I think that's where our journey with Mamaearth literally started, because we said that, hey, in India, we do not have any products which are following these guidelines. Countries outside of India have these ingredients in their banned ingredients list while we are actively using it, and not just on ourselves, but on little babies, on those new lives, right? Imagine they can't even say anything for themselves. So that's how we thought that, let's try and figure out if there's something that can be done around this area. And after wearing our research caps, after talking to a lot of vendors, a lot of consumers, we figured out that, the proposition is something that a wide variety of audience is looking for. Even our friends and family were looking for something which was toxin-free, made of natural ingredients. Like us, a lot of other parents were ordering products from outside of India. When we talked to different vendors, we realized that all of these ingredients were actually available in India and available at affordable prices, which meant that you could actually create products which were safe by certain standards and bring it to the Indian audience at reasonable prices. So but that's where,
But did it, ever concern you that, this is perhaps already a saturated market because you have Himalaya and you have other kind of Ayurvedic products, apart from which your parents will give you, a whole range of home remedies and fixes and natural products. So why would people pay a premium to buy the same natural toxin-free product off the shelf? So did that ever cross your mind?
No, of course it crossed our minds, right? I mean, we were going to quit our jobs to start this.
Yeah,
so a lot of things.
Coca-Cola.
Yes, I was right. So I mean, a lot of things crossed our minds at that time.
Literally moved from toxic to.
I'm not going to make any comments like that, right? But so what we realized was, one, while there were a lot of what you would call natural proposition brands, and there was no one who was certified safe, right? And people were talking about naturals, right? But then the base that they were using, right, wasn't exactly something that was certified clean, right? And they were still using some of these, harmful ingredients like parabens or sulfates or phthalates, etc.
I think there was no standard defined around safety, what safety meant.
And hence we felt that there clearly is a space for creating a clean label brand. What we realized was that because the largest strength that FMCG companies have had in India was numeric distribution, there was also becoming a weakness when it came to innovation, right? Because everything was being innovated for 1 million stores, right? And that's not necessary, right? I mean, a company like ours, which stands for innovating for the consumer, right? Believes in serving the long tail, right? Saying that if there is a consumer need, right, let's build a product out for them. And the good thing is our distribution, which was e-commerce first, right, clearly respects the long tail and actually allows to serve it, right? So because of that, in fact, even in our launch, right, we had products like a mosquito repellent or a sunscreen, followed by a easy tummy. Followed by a easy tummy roll-on, which was about that hing and coconut oil mix, which you can use, and you don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. and sort of warm the coconut oil. And
we still get so many thank yous and congratulatory messages around the fact that we thought about something like that and launched that into the market.
Did you think that it would have been better for you to maybe stay specialized in one category, or was it necessary to also kind of expand the market, go after a bigger pie?
See, I think it evolved very holistically for us. When we started out, we were just thinking about baby care as a market, and we wanted to cater to that. But what we were very actively doing was listening to our consumers and listening to the mothers who were taking care of the babies. And 6 months after we launched, this set of consumer is what came up to us and said that, a baby stays very close to a mother's body, and hence why don't you launch products for adults? And that consumer listening, which has been an inherent part of it's one of the core pillars, if I can call it that, for our organization. That's what led us to expand into adult care. We started with skin, and then we had consumer asking for her. And it was also a natural extension towards our business, right? Baby is a small category, and hence there's only so much that you can do in that category. But when we got into hair, skin, even our broader market size expanded, and hence, be it from the consumer listening point of view or from the business point of view, it made sense for us to...
I think also there is a certain philosophy that we had around building brands, right? And that philosophy is all about building why-based brands rather than what-based brands. And so we're, as a company, and as we're building more brands now, right, that philosophy is something that we strongly believe in, right? As a student of marketing who's worked with Unilever's, Coca-Cola's, etc. the world, one of the things that I clearly realized was that millennials will respond to why-based, purpose-based brands a lot more.
Varun and Ghazal, if I look at the last couple of years, they were like watershed years for the so-called direct-to-consumer or the D2C wave, and Mamaearth kind of, was front and center when it came to that growth. But increasingly in the last few months, when we've been talking to D2C brands or even people tracking the space, they talk to us about how the growth has literally flatlined for many of these brands. They're facing challenges when it comes to customer acquisition, because people are perhaps not spending that much time shopping online, at home, discovering brands. People are going back to work, it's business as usual, life as usual. Plus there is a funding crunch. How have things changed for you? And coupled with this, we also have inflation, which is impacting consumption and discretionary spend. So how are these two trends impacting your business?
So, firstly, the first part of the question, I don't believe we are a D2C brand. Right? We're an organization which is in the business of building brands. Right? Brands are built in the minds of consumers. Right? Mediums or media, right, will continue to change and continue to evolve. Right? Yes, we are a digitally native company. Right? we are born in an era and born with the advantage of being digital first, right? And hence digital data and technology come very natural to us as an organization. But then that still is the medium or the media. And the core objective for us is to build the brand in the mind of the consumer. And as long as you're clear about that, you then follow the consumer's journey. And if the consumer wants to buy the category in a omni-channel or in physical retail, right, you have to follow the consumer, right, and be available where the consumer wants you to be available. If you will force them to make a choice which is a different choice and push them towards a channel, right, that friction will cost you, which is where you're talking about cost of acquisition, etc., for others going higher. And our business, in fact, has become more efficient over the last 3 years with disruptive growth, right? From an inflation perspective, a real issue for sure, right?
Yeah.
Be it on supply side, where we have clearly seen a lot of raw material prices going up, which is why probably, after a period of 5 years of existing where we have not taken a single rupee of price increase, right? This is probably the first year where we'll take some 3 to 4% kind of a price increase.
Have you already increased prices?
Yes, but it
across categories?
Across certain SKUs, right, where the pressures are the highest, right?
Like?
But the increase is in the 3 to 4% kind of zone.
Which SKUs?
So in face washes, right, in certain other categories where we've seen the impact of prices from a raw material.
Has that impacted demand?
Actually, it's happening as we speak. Right? And honestly, for us, this is also going to be the first time where we increase it.
Where you're seeing a price increase. And
yeah, while we are very sure that the brand has very deep associations with the consumers, right? But we will also get to know, right, how it sort of impacts demand, although it shouldn't be much because the quantum is...
Yeah, we are also being very cognizant around passing it on to the consumer. So we are doing multiple interventions, and wherever we think we can identify spaces where we can hold back and not pass it on to the consumer, we are actively thinking about a few of those areas as well.
Varun and Ghazal, this is where the magic happens for Mamaearth, the lab. We have an inside view of the lab. Who did you test the first batch of products on? That must have been scary. No, but that would have been scary, right? To test a brand new skin.
Absolutely, right? I mean, in fact, even till like today, every new product, every new batch of production is tested by Ghazal herself, right? And it does not go out till the Ghazal test is passed. While we have all the other...
Ghazal test applies for shampoo,
everything. Each and every product that Mamaearth gets into the market has been, we can safely say that, has been tested by me personally for 35 to 40 days of regular usage. And whatever comes out in baby category has been used by my babies for the same period of time.
This is literally skin in the game.
Yes, absolutely.
Literally skin and hair in the game is what I would say, right? And in fact now, again, like how some of these things spread as part of DNA, right? So now you will sometimes come to office, right, and you will see 17 guys wearing sheet masks who are sitting here, right? Or applying some mask and some product and stuff
under
like that.
Patches. Right? Oh, you have to be out there.
Yeah,
you
so
will
a
see
lot of
them
that
using
happens
all
because
kinds of products.
We do, everyone, has their skin in the game, right? Because in one of the rituals that we have is that everyone in our company calls 20 to 25 consumers every quarter, and we have direct conversations with them. We try to understand what they're liking, what they're not liking, etc. So because everyone is connected to the consumers, right? Everyone is equally connected to the products, right? And hence that also kind of spread the skin in the game.
So Ghazal, can you make a shampoo or a lotion or a soap if someone tells you to do it immediately?
Okay, now we have a lot of experts here working with us who can do a 100 times better job than what I'll create here. I can create a basic version. I'm not sure of the performance, but my team can create like a shampoo which will win in the blind testing compared to other shampoos that I can vouch for.
What about you, Varun?
So, but yeah, I mean, we're fully involved on product side even today. Of course, Ghazal far more than me because she fully leads that side. And, but yeah, you can wake us up in the middle of the night and talk products for us.
Absolutely.
We do that quite often. I mean, but we love the products that we make. Our skin, hair, everything else is in the game, right? So for our entire family, for that matter, and we were always paranoid, and we continue to be really paranoid of the quality of products that we want to go out of the system, because we are ourselves so attached, and because of where we came from, right? That paranoia starts from that baby care DNA that we have, right? And continues to be there in the system.
Your strength traditionally has been online, but increasingly, I think offline is the new online for every sector that we see, be it education, be it the area where you are in, FMCG, consumer care. So how do you view the online-offline mix changing for Mamaearth? You're focusing on opening your own stores, also stocking existing mom and pop stores across the neighborhood. How's it going to work out for you?
I think our long-term strategy is it's not offline versus online or stuff like that. It's more of an omni-channel play. The focus being wherever our consumer wants to see us, or they believe that this is where you should be present and I should be able to access you. That's the place where we'll be present. So if that means that online and hence expanding more into online channels, we would do that. If that means that offline and having your own stores makes sense, we've been doing that at least in the past.
And it just, reality is still as a nation, and almost 90% plus of the transactions, even in the beauty personal care space, it is happening in offline, right? And the kind of ambitions that we have for the business in terms of size, and we realize that the consumer who's comfortable buying this mix and product offline, right, needs to be provided that mix offline, right? And hence we started this journey almost 2 years back, and we started it more with distributed trade, right? So by being present in offline retail outlets, mom and pop stores, modern trade outlets, right? And we expanded that journey, right? In fact, surprisingly, the entire 2 years which was stuck with COVID, and most folks were talking about physical distribution not firing, and actually that's the period that we've used maximum to expand, because what we realized was that this was the period where everyone else was pulling back, right? They were pulling back their investment, they were pulling back their focus, right? And the retail channel still existed. They had their costs to pay, they had their employees to manage, and they were looking forward to brands who would come and support them in this area. Right? And we actually made sure that we went there and we talked to them and provided our mix, and scaled it up very quickly during these stages. From a zero, now offline is 30% of our business, right? And growing much faster. Right?
Is it faster than online because of the reach, and because 90% of India still shops?
Right, because our distribution itself is expanding, right? So the opportunity to grow there is far higher, right? And hence it's faster.
Right. You've also, spoken about how you want Mamaearth to be a house of brands, and that's something that you have been doing in the last year. You've launched brands. You've also made, a lot of acquisitions, Be Blunt, Dr. Sheth, and so on. How are you going to tie up all this? Do you anticipate integration challenges going forward?
So I think the strategy around House of Brands was all about utilizing corporate strengths. What we realize is, one, during our journey of building Mamaearth, we realized we have not just built a brand, but we have also built certain corporate capabilities, right? Those capabilities were marketing to millennials, those capabilities were D2C, e-commerce distribution, those capabilities were R&D and understanding of the consumer in this whole beauty and personal care space, right? And what we also understood was that the consumer in the beauty and personal care space, right, is a need state buyer, which means that today for your for your face, right, you would look for a natural clean label proposition, right? But because tomorrow you have a wedding to attend, right, you would want a very different kind of a proposition for your hair, right? Which could be about salon ready hair kind of a proposition, right? And day after you might be struggling with acne, right? And you want something which can short sort of work on it, and hence should be a doctor designed kind of a play, right? So the same person, right, actually is buying into multiple propositions, right? And either we can stick to saying, okay, we are only going to provide this proposition, and then we're not going to service you fully as a consumer. You will need to go to another company, right,
or you
to
can be a
actually
full
ask
stack.
or you can provide all of these propositions, right, to the consumer who's looking for you. Because what we are married to is delighting that consumer that we serve, right? And which is where we felt that creating these propositions basis the strengths that we have got of R&D, innovation and distribution, and serving this consumer with these propositions, right, is going to be the long-term strategy of the company.
What's it like here? Gurugram is really hot, that much I can tell you. There's no winter, literally.
So winter is not hit Gurugram for sure.
Not hit you.
In fact, we're waiting for rains.
No, but do you also have to maybe look at your cost structure, your employee structure, some of those tough decisions that you have to take?
Honestly, not at all.
Not at all.
We haven't, touch wood, but we don't feel that.
We're a frugal company.
Yeah.
To start
And you're
with,
already
Chandra,
profitable.
right? And yeah, I mean, some of those pieces, profitable, working capital negative, are something that we achieved, in the past itself, right? And those are very strong ethos of how we're kind of building the business, how our teams are built, how we create our business plans and then execute on them, right? And hence, at least to grow internally, right? We are very well capitalized, right? I mean, we don't need, or we are not looking for funding, etc. For that. Our brands generate enough value to help us grow fast, right? And the external environment is a reality, and it has started with the public market, crashes and slowdowns. And India has still been resilient, right?
Yeah.
US and Europe are far more impacted, right? And that, of course, has impact on the entire investment ecosystem, because a lot of VC investors finally raise from investors who have strong public market exposures, and when that portfolio gets hit, their ability to take risks in the private markets goes down, and hence VC allocations, etc. go down. So that is reality, right? But I also believe that reality is also short-lived, right? Because we have heard of so many funds who have raised such large capital just to invest in India markets, right? I mean,
A lot
you would
of
have
funds
tweeted
actually,
about them, in the last 3 months, at least about 10
Yeah.
funds, right? Who
Yeah.
would have raised 500
Yeah.
million or more, right? Now, all of this money is ready for India, right? And while the conservatism might last for a quarter or two, right? But our long-term story and our long-term private market story as well, which is the startup boom, which we're going to talk about, which we're seeing and which we're going to see over the next decade, we are very, very confident that that will
Here to
happen.
stay, and it's all positive.
A lot of buzz also about when Mamaearth is going to hit Dalal Street. What would you like to say on that? Is that going to be the ultimate ambition for you're 6 years old now?
Yeah, we are going to complete 6 years in December. So still yet to hit the 6 years, but do they have retail stores in Dalal Street? Because we might already be present there. If there are some grocery stores there, right, we will make sure that we are well
we'll be
distributed.
happy to get in touch.
But I mean, finally, some of these things are very dependent on times, markets, external situations, right? Do we believe that the company will be a public market someday? Yes, right? I mean, that's a journey that is there for companies to take.
Okay. On that note, Varun and Ghazal, thank you very much for joining us on Bits to Billions.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having me.